In this episode of Fictional Hangover, God, I just leaned in and talked to the bird. In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about face tattoos, magic, this bird on Zoom, and Adrian in our discussion of Bloodlines by Rochelle Mead. Hey everybody! Welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult books, series, authors, and voice actors that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to discuss Bloodlines by Rochelle Mead. Woo! It's about time. It's about time. I can finally find out what all of this is about.
I know.
We're getting ahead.
We are. Standard disclaimer. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book, then come back. If you haven't done this but want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen up.
Yay!
Yay!
We're not panicking about, we're getting on with this. We'll do books 1 to 6 now, all now. Because I just want to talk about it all.
Oh, that would be great, but that would throw off our schedule. It
really would. It would also be difficult because I've only listened to Bloodlines so far.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I clearly need to get caught up because I forgot about a lot of stuff that happened in this book.
Really? Ooh, I'm interested to find out what.
I only read it once, like, when it came out. So, it's been a while.
Ah. Oh, this is going to be an interesting discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I know the gist of what happens in every book, but there are a lot of details that I forgot.
Excellent. I'm actually, that is actually quite exciting, because usually with the Vampire Academy series, which is fine, it's like, what did you think, Claire? And I'm like, okay. But now, I feel like you're more on the same page as me. Ooh, liking it.
Ooh, indeed. Ooh, indeed.
Let's dive in then. Background info.
You're going to be shocked. Frankly, you're going to be shocked because every other time that we have talked about a Rochelle Mead book, I have retrieved background information from her live journal. And I didn't do it this time. Because look, she started slacking off on the live journal, and that was already apparent during Last Sacrifice. There was not a whole lot of good information there. If you will recall, the Last Sacrifice background information was a terrible trailer for Last Sacrifice of someone walking downstairs.
Take that back. That was terribly good in it. Yeah. No, actually, it was really awful. I liked yours with the stream.
That's what you told me to do during the episode. I don't know if anyone paid attention to that.
I really feel like we should have run a competition for that, you know.
You know, I tried. I made a post on social media and no one responded to
Oh
it.
My gosh. Do you know what, though? I blame the social media algorithms because I am not seeing a lot of things, and I should be seeing them because there are pages and groups that I engage with, and I just don't see them.
Well, you know what we say about social media, especially Facebook.
Please insert picture here.
Testicle in an ugly hat.
Yes.
So, anyway, background info. Let's talk about that. I got this background info from Goodreads.
Oh.
Yeah, there was an interview with Rochelle Mead, and she's asked, what were your sources of inspiration or topics of research for the centuries-old tradition of alchemy in Sydney's family? And her response is that it's pretty loosely based on history. It's my own interpretation, so I'm sure there are purists who will say, hey, I've read about medieval alchemists, and I don't remember them doing anything with vampires. I liked the idea of a Men in Black society of people trying to keep vampires secret from the world, so that was part of the inspiration. Then, at the same time, because I do like tying everything to mythology and folklore if I can, the alchemist idea came in, people dabbling in half magic, half science. They were particularly fascinated with magical substances. That was where the whole lead into gold idea came from. So I thought, if ever there was a substance you could do wild things with, vampire blood was it. So I borrowed from that history and mixed it back into the Men in Black idea, and they sort of spawned from there.
I do like Men in Black.
Me too. Men in Black with vampires?
Hello!
Yeah. I'm into it.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, I mean, who's to say that historical alchemists didn't dabble in vampire blood? We're only saying vampires are myth and legend, you know?
Right. Yeah, right.
History is written by the victors. And in this case, vampire blood wasn't successful, so they just missed that bit out of their research.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that vampires would be the winners.
It depends, because Trapper Moroi in Sunlight, which we're going to get to that kind of discussion, they're going to be fairly weak. Yeah, you've got them in the cage, you're not feeding them, but you've got them as a blood source. They're not fighting back.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
So, anywho, indeed.
Initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts. Everyone's gonna know that my initial thought is Adrian!
I'm so surprised.
I know. I feel like I have a very unflattering camera angle today, so I'm constantly moving to see if I can make this any better.
Are you going to recline like, one of your French ladies?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that, but it's just, this isn't a good look for me. This plain
Find your light.
Ugh. Plain wall, weird stuff going on. Terrible angles.
I'm finding my light.
What if I get rid of my light? No, that's weird. It's not good. None of it's good, okay? That's why the bird's here.
The bird is the distraction.
The bird is the distraction. Maybe this is better. Let's stick with this for a bit. We'll see.
Once we dive into it, it'll all be fine.
Yes. Okay. Sydney Sage and her younger sister Zoe are awoken in the middle of the night by their father for what is surely important alchemist business. Either that, or they're sending Sydney to a re-education center. The girls meet their father in his study, but are not alone. 3 more alchemists are there. Jared Sage is annoyed at what these other alchemists are requesting of him, which is that Zoe be tattooed with the golden lily marking her as an alchemist and sent on a mission. Since Sydney is already an alchemist, it would make more sense for her to go on this mission, but with her running around and helping Rose Hathaway, well, her loyalties are in question. Alchemists are supposed to hate Moroi, Strigoi, and Dampiers, but really, she only hates the Strigoi now, the undead, murderous vampires, like everyone else. The alchemists decide that Sydney, being more trained, will go on the mission, but she must get her lily re-tattooed to strengthen the magic it provides, keeping her from getting sick, in peak physical condition, and from revealing alchemist secrets. Her tattoo redone, Sydney finally finds out her mission: to go into hiding and protect Jill Mastrano, Queen Vasilisa Dragomir's illegitimate sister.
Ooh. Some Moroi are upset with the crowning of the young queen, and in order to dethrone her without attacking her directly, they have begun an attack on Jill. She's already been injured once, so the Moroi have decided to hide her and another Moroi, and Ivashnikov, for some reason, and a garden. Put the extra H in again, didn't I?
There was an N this time.
Oh, Jesus.
Ivashnikov.
Fucking Christ. Ivashkov. I know how to fucking say it. I say it all the time, but as soon as it comes to recording, I can't speak.
Pet the bird.
Pet the bird.
Pet the bird.
And Ivashkov, for some reason, and a garden, Eddie Castiel, in extremely sunny Palm Springs. Keith, another alchemist, arrives. He's in charge of Palm Springs and is angry that Sydney will be on the mission instead of Zoe.
Fucking Keith, man.
Fuck you, Keith. Sydney hates him. Rightly so. He stayed with the Sages when they were all younger, and her father treated him like the son he never had. But Sydney knows something about Keith. Something he doesn't want anyone to find out. So he obviously hates her and doesn't want her to be part of the mission. But what is the mission exactly?
Sydney will be Jill's roommate in a private boarding school and keep an eye on her to keep her safe. Wait, she has to go back to high school?
Boo.
Ooh. Maybe it would have been better for Zoe to be on this mission, but no. Sydney doesn't want Zoe to have to live the alchemist's life, especially if it's with Keith. After she's sent away to pack her things, Zoe comes barging into Sydney's room, pissed that Sydney is going on the mission instead. This could have been her chance. Oh no. Hopefully, Zoe won't be upset for too long. But now it's time for Sydney to get in the car with Keith and drive to Palm Springs. What a joy this will be.
Worst road trip ever. The drive, though, is not as terrible as it could be, though Keith does make some off-colour vampire remarks that Sydney doesn't agree with. They arrive in Palm Springs and get everything set up for Sydney, Eddie and Jill's arrival at school. They get fake IDs, fake last names, and now they're the Melrose siblings. They also buy Sydney a car, and we all remember from way back in Spiritbound that Sydney loves cars.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
Yeah, but the one she gets isn't super impressive. It's a brown station wagon. But she does lovingly name it Latte. So there is that.
That is pretty good.
And that's cute.
Good.
That's cute.
That's
the
good.
only thing left for them to do is to meet their charges. Or Keith needs to meet them. So they go to the house of the Moroi who lives in the desert town, Clarence, who will share his feeder with Jill. That's nice. When they arrive, they are greeted by Adrian Ivashkov, who pretends to be a scary vampire to taunt with Keith, and also Jill, and Eddie, and Abe?
Abe is there.
Abe is there! Abe!
Yay, Abe! I'm so excited about Abe and Adrian.
Together.
Two of my favorites. Sydney meets Clarence and his son, Lee, who is also there. Keith is rattled by this. Apparently, he doesn't know everything about his region like he previously claimed. Also at this meeting is Rose Hathaway. Sydney is excited to see her friend again, but has to make it seem like she's indifferent. Rose is there to make sure the house is secure and suggests changing a lock on the back door. Like that would keep Strigoi out, Keith muses. This sends Clarence off on a rattling discussion about how Strigoi aren't the worst things out there and that vampire hunters killed his niece. This is news to everyone, except Lee, who is embarrassed. Vampire hunters? What?
I mean, it's possible. They're vampires.
Sure. Yeah.
Clarence says his niece's throat was slashed with a knife and half her blood was gone. That doesn't seem very Strigoi-like, though. But that's who the Guardians claim was responsible, so... Anyway. Keith starts talking then about how he fought Strigoi and they took his eyeball. But Sydney can't stand to hear the story again, so she goes outside. She later overhears a chat between Abe and Adrian, who's been outside all this time, about how he should have been inside meeting the alchemists and being polite. It's important that he stay close to Jill, according to Lissa and Rose, and he's supposed to be Abe's eyes and ears here, so it's important that he's involved, even if he doesn't want to be around Rose. Abe tells Adrian he could be great, but he has to get over this hang-up. The two Moroi go inside and Sydney follows a bit later. Keith tells her they need to leave because he has important business to take care of. So they do.
Sydney hoped to get more details about exactly what happened to have Lissa, Rose, and Abe hide Jill out here in Palm Springs, but no luck. Now on campus, she and Jill have to share a room, which freaks Sydney out. She was able to get along with Rose well enough when she was helping her when she was on the run, but now, living with an actual vampire? It's a lot. Their first day includes an orientation and a tour of the campus of their school, Amberwood Prep. They are shown around by a guy named Micah, who turns out to be Eddie's roommate. Eddie seems put off by Micah, or maybe even afraid of him, but that can't be. He's just a regular lanky redheaded guy, and Eddie is a guardian. Or almost. Eddie's been on probation since he killed the Manglehand man back in Last Sacrifice. But whatever, he shouldn't be afraid of this human guy who seems pretty harmless anyway.
Yeah. After the tour, Sydney gets fitted for her school uniforms, which are pretty boring, but also pretty much what she would wear every day as an alchemist anyway, so, you know. She does freak out about being a size 4 and is jealous of Jill's size 0, though really, a 4, it's tiny. That is tiny.
Pocket-sized.
My wrist is bigger than a 4. She gets her schedule and shocks the administration when she tells them she knows all the languages offered. She has to take tests to prove it, and of course she passes them all. She also meets 2 girls, Julia and Kristen, who are very interested in her face tattoo.
It's a face tattoo. It's a face tattoo.
Yeah.
On a high school student.
Yeah.
Face tattoo.
Yeah. They offer to meet up with her for lunch the next day to explain why they're curious about it. It's a face tattoo. Exactly.
It's
a freaking face tattoo.
Face tattoo.
Yeah. That night, as Sydney and Jill get ready for bed, Jill seems to know a lot about what Adrian is up to, even though she hasn't seen him or talked to him.
It's puzzling. The first day of school goes by pretty normally for Sydney, except that she's obviously the smartest person in all her classes, and the teacher's assistant in her history class, Trey, comments on her tattoo, her face tattoo. And Julia and Kristen ask at lunch if she's smart because of her face tattoo. No, that's weird. She explains that she was homeschooled, and her father was strict. The girls tell Sydney to meet up with them later, and they'll explain more about why they're curious about her face tattoo.
The tattoo on her face?
Because it's on her face, because it's a face tattoo.
When Sydney gets to PE, she's shocked to find that Jill isn't there, even though she's supposed to be. After meeting up with someone in administration to decide what to do in place of the language classes she tested out of, Sydney rushes back to her room. Jill is in there, safe and sound, but she got sent out of her first class and was made to stay in her dorm for the rest of the classes because she was hungover. What? No, she wasn't. She was feeling unwell, but she definitely wasn't drunk. Sydney starts freaking out over Jill being punished for nothing, but Jill begs her to calm down. It was nothing, it's no big deal, it's fine. You know what would help her feel better though? Seeing Adrian.
That makes everything better for everyone. Yeah. They go to Clarence's house, and Sydney talks to Lee while Jill talks to Adrian. This does seem to make Jill feel better. Before they leave, Adrian asks to speak with Sydney. Sydney asks Lee to talk to Jill about feeling out of place as a Moroi in a human school while she and Adrian talk. Adrian asks Sydney if she can help him get his own apartment or bachelor pad or even a car or something, because the only thing he has to do at Clarence's is drink all day, and, well, he's almost out of liquor already. Sydney tells him no, because Abe told him to stay here, and she doesn't want to cross Abe.
You do not cross Abe.
Do not cross Abe.
Even if you have a face tattoo, you do not cross Abe.
Face tattooed.
The next day of classes is better. Jill actually attends this time. That's nice.
Hey!
And while she's nervous about being so much taller and thinner than everyone else, she makes it through the day relatively unscathed. Sydney secures an independent study position with her history teacher, Miss Twirlinger, and will help her in writing a book too. That's a bit mint.
It sounds perfect.
It does. Sydney is thrilled by this, but Trey mocks her again about being so smart because of her face tattoo.
Oh, her face tattoo. She has a face tattoo? Is that what you're telling me?
Apparently so. It's subtle, but she has a face tattoo. She tells him that it's not the case and asks what's the deal with everyone thinking her tattoo is why she's so smart. Apparently, there are tattoos that increase abilities, and everyone at school knows about them. A guy named Slade tells Trey he's going to get one that will make him a football captain. Trey is better than Slade in every way, despite not having a tattoo, so he's not worried.
Mystical tattoos.
Looking pointedly in the camera, raising an eyebrow.
Later in PE, Jill is there, which is good. But they're playing volleyball in the full sun, which is not good for a vampire. Micah takes care of her and covers her poor sporting ability, but Sydney doesn't like it. She talks to Eddie after class and tells him to make Micah leave Jill alone. Vampires and humans do not mix. He says he won't talk to Micah because Jill deserves to have some semblance of normalcy, and if Sydney has a problem with them spending time together, she needs to talk to Jill about it instead. However, instead of talking to Jill, Sydney goes to see Adrian, hoping to get him on her side, which she does, but he tells her the same thing as Eddie, to talk to Jill. Then, Lee comes in and says if they want Jill to have a date, then he'll ask her out because he likes her. Adrian flips at this because Lee is 19 and in college, and Jill is 15, and it's gross, and we all agree with Adrian.
Yeah. No, just don't do it, Lee. Don't do it.
Then they talk about group dating or socializing, since Sydney would definitely have to go to chaperone, which gets Adrian excited, since that means he'll get to leave Clarence's and have an evening out.
Oh, bless him. He just wants to go out.
He does. Poor thing.
This planning doesn't last long because Keith comes in then, which is weird because he shouldn't be there. But Sydney shouldn't either, really, so... Lee asks if Adrian wants to go to LA with him, while Keith yells at Sydney for being a vamp lover and a sympathiser. What a jerk. She asked him for a note to get Jill out of outdoor PE, which he declined because he's a jerk.
Hey! Jerk!
They go outside to leave, but Keith keeps yelling at Sydney about sending her to a re-education centre. Adrian overhears and tells her that Keith is a jerk, which we all know by now, and that she's not bad for a human. Oh, that's a nice compliment. Oh, what fuzzies. He tells her she can say the same thing back to him, but no, she's an alchemist. She can't say that. She does give him a small compliment, though, which he delightfully takes too far. When Sydney gets back to her room, Jill is furious at her for going behind her back and trying to set her up on dates. Did Adrian call her and tell her all this already? Sheesh. Sydney apologises and realises once again, while just trying to protect her younger sister, real O'Maroy, she's messed up again.
Damn it, Sydney.
Sisters, man.
Mr. Williger calls Sydney then and sends her off campus to pick up coffee for her and makes her come to the library to assist with translations for her book. While in the library, Sydney runs into Julia and Kristen and overhears Slade talking about his new tattoo. She sees that it's metallic, just like her alchemist tattoo, which means that it has some elemental addition that will give him a boost in some way. Sydney can't let on that she knows about any of this, what with her face tattoo and all, so she asks the girls about the tattoos. They explain that everyone goes to a place called Nevermore to get them, and depending on what kind you get different effects, like help with studying, or with sports, or just to feel good. They also say they don't last very long, 2 weeks tops, but people get them touched up all the time if they have enough money. This tattoo stuff is really interesting, but Sydney has to get back to her room. Jill is now really upset and sobbing. She apologizes for being so mean to Sydney earlier and then spends the rest of the night staring off into space. It's perplexing a bit. But you know what? She's a vampire. Who the hell knows
She's
what vampires do?
15 as well. I mean...
Yeah. Who the hell knows what's going on? Not Sydney, because she's an alchemist and she doesn't like vampires.
The next day is feeding day for Jill, so they all go to Clarence's after school. And surprisingly, or maybe not, Keith is there again. While everyone enjoys pizza, which Jill asked to bring because Adrian doesn't like the food at Clarence's, Sydney talks to Keith about the strange tattoos that everyone seems to have. He doesn't think they're related to alchemist tattoos at all. When he overhears Jill talking about her PE classes, he jumps in, valiantly offering to take care of everything she needs. How odd that he would do that when just yesterday he was berating Sydney about it. It's then she realises that Keith doesn't want her there, which she already knew, but now he's trying to sabotage her and make her look bad. Good thing everyone knows how shitty he is. He spends the rest of the night texting and ignoring everyone. Because he is a jerk.
He's a jerk.
He is an absolute asshat.
He's the worst.
Fuck you, Keith. Fuck you.
Fuck you, Keith. Lee suggests that they all go out to play mini golf after dinner, and when Sydney checks with Keith to make sure she can go and it won't seem like she's fraternizing with vampires, he misses the mark and says he can't go because he's busy. Dude, no one was fucking inviting you. You are not welcome. You are not welcome here.
Nope.
Since Jill has had her blood refill, she's feeling better and more energetic and talks to Eddie about learning how to fight, which then spreads into Sydney learning too. Clarence thinks this is a great idea, but not in fighting off Strigoi. Then he begins rambling about vampire hunters again. Eddie tells him he'll keep them all safe, which soothes the addled old vampire.
Oh, Eddie.
Aww, pet the bird.
Mini golf goes well. Lee's interest in Jill is okay with everyone, even Adrian, who snidely remarks that he's seen bigger age differences.
Oh, burn. Even though none of them are around.
Thoughts and feelings. I have thoughts and feelings. Jill is very excited when she sees that the golf course has a huge waterfall. Being in the desert has been hard on her as a water user, so she starts manipulating the water, which freaks Sydney out. Like, seriously. Vampires using magic is so unnatural. She asks Jill to stop, but she doesn't until Adrian snaps at her. Later, back at their dorm, Jill goes on and on about Lee and apologises to Sydney again for being hateful. The next day, Eddie trains Jill in self-defence while Micah watches. Sydney gets coffee for Miss Twellinger and talks to Trey, who works at the coffee shop, about Slade and the tattoos. She works on Miss Twellinger's notes when she gets back to campus and grumbles about having to copy down spells and rituals verbatim instead of just taking regular non-detailed notes. But, oh well. It'll be helpful to Miss Twellinger and her book, and though Sydney has lots of her own homework to do, she'll get it all done eventually. The next day, Jill shakes Sydney awake, telling her they have to rescue Adrian. He's in trouble.
He's not really in trouble. He's stuck in Long Beach after partying all night. Oh, Adrian. Sydney asks Jill how she knows all this, and Jill finally reveals that during the attack that got her sent away from court, she wasn't just hurt. She was killed. Adrian brought her back to life using his spirit magic, and now they're bound.
Oh.
Shadow kissed. Just like Rose and Lissa were, until Rose died a little again. So, just like Rose and Lissa, Jill can feel everything that Adrian is going through, and she really was hungover that first day of school because Adrian was hungover. This really pisses Sydney off, so she goes to collect Adrian so she can yell at him for drinking and partying and doing whatever else he does, since he knows it negatively affects Jill. She arrives and starts in on him, and he apologizes and begs her for help getting out of Clarence's, which she can't do. It turns out he was cut off from the Ivashkov bank accounts and has literally nothing to his name. I bet Rose had something to do with that. P.S. Stealing all his money and flying all over the country. Just gonna say.
Yep.
Then one of the party girls starts screaming. One of their friends, another Moroi, was killed by Strigoi, and they sliced her throat. This sends Sydney into calculating alchemist mode. Other alchemists will surely take care of it, but wait. Strigoi don't slit throats.
Back at school, Sydney talks to Eddie about the idea of vampire hunters actually existing. She decides to look into alchemist files about the attacks that killed Clarence's niece and this sorority girl. In her room later, Sydney receives more work from Miss Twirlinger, and then hears a commotion. She runs down the hall to find that Kristen got a tattoo and is having a bad reaction to it, but no one wants to risk taking her to the hospital if it would mean something bad for the shady tattoo parlour. Sydney runs back to her room and mixes a concoction using her alchemist kit that will negate the effects of the tattoos. She knows that it's rare, but sometimes alchemists have bad reactions to the metals used in the tattoos, so she takes the concoction back to her friend and helps her. The tattoo looks disgusting and she has chemical burns, but at least she's no longer dying from her shitty tattoo. Not on her face, though. It's not a shitty face tattoo.
No, it's a shitty wrist tattoo.
Yeah.
Much better than a shitty face tattoo. A few days pass in which Sydney is oblivious to boys flirting with her, and Julia and Kristen being really nice to her and offering boy advice. Look, she's just not interested in boys or anything that will distract her from her alchemist duties. When feeding day rolls around again, Adrian asks Sydney if she'll take him for cigarettes while Jill is feeding. It seems he's trying to distract her from the unholiness of the blood drinking. That's really kind.
Yeah.
It's really kind of Adrian. He asks again for help getting out of Clarence's house, but the only assistance she offers is in helping him to get a job. They drive to a convenience store nearby for Adrian's cigarettes when Sydney spots Nevermore, the shitty tattoo parlor. She asks Adrian for help in distracting the shop owners while she sneaks in and investigates the materials they use in the tattoos. While Adrian is describing the most ridiculous tattoo ever in existence, Sydney finds out what she knew she would. They're using vampire blood.
Oh.
Stop laughing about Adrian's tattoo right now. It's too much.
Sorry.
Don't worry, we'll describe it later for everyone in glorious detail.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so she finds vampire blood. They're using vampire blood in their tattoos, just like her alchemist tattoo.
Oh my god.
This isn't good, and neither is the fact that one of the owners is now trying to get back in. Sydney makes a run for it and gets away, stealing some of the materials. She tells Adrian what she discovered.
Back at school, Slade and some other bros are upset because Nevermore is having some delays in getting materials for their illicit tattoos. Clearly, they're so addicted to whatever is in them. Sydney's done some research trying to figure out what is the compounds and finds there's one being used in the tattoos that she can't figure out. Jill, meanwhile, is pretty upset about school because one of the popular girls, who also has a crush on Micah, is bullying her, even calling her a vampire. But that's just because she's so skinny and pale. Jill gets back at her by freezing the water in her shower one day. Sydney is mad, but really, no one could possibly know Jill had anything to do with it. Adrian finds it hilarious, though. As do we.
Yes, we do. Sydney goes by Clarence's to take Adrian out to find a job, and while she's waiting on him, Clarence talks to her about the Moroi who was murdered, clearly by vampire hunters.
Yarp.
He tells Sydney that the hunters are more strict than alchemists and worship the sun, and kill Strigoi without question, but kill Moroi more strategically. Sydney finds it odd that Clarence knows so much about vampire hunters, especially since they don't exist. She and Adrian leave then, in search of a job that uses all his made-up skills that Sydney put on his made-up resume.
They go to several job interviews, which Adrian fails spectacularly. I mean, it's Adrian style. And Sydney yells at him for not trying. She was legitimately trying to help, and he was just wasting her time. She drops him off and goes back to school, where she finds out that Jill is missing.
Oh, fuck.
After some frantic thoughts from Sydney, Eddie, Micah and school officials, they realise Jill is with Lee and track them down. Lee brings Jill back to school, where Sydney lays into her. Good. Jill begins to complain about how her life at school is terrible, and Sydney and Eddie only make her feel worse when Sydney tells her that she's the only one doing a job here, and they're all acting like children.
Yes, they are.
They are. The spiel goes on for a while, but that's the basics of it. Then she and Eddie talk to Lee about how foolish it was to take Jill away without telling anyone. Things seem to be okay after that, but then Sydney gets a call from her father. It's going to put an even bigger cramp on the day, isn't it?
Yeah. He yells at her about how she's failing at her job and how Keith is picking up all her slack, which definitely isn't true. Keith's actually sabotaging her, but she can't say that because her father adores Keith and wouldn't believe her. He tells her that he's taking her off the job and sending Zoe in to replace her in 2 weeks. No way. After the call, Sydney decides she's got to do something to make herself look good in the eyes of the alchemists again, and then realizes she has to figure out the tattoos. When she finally gets to sleep that night, she's met in a spirit dream by Adrian. She freaks out about being surrounded by vampire magic and begs Adrian to release her, but before he does, he apologizes for wasting her time and says he doesn't know why he does stuff like that. Then he asks her for help getting into a local college. If he's able to get loans and into school, he'll be able to get out of Clarence's and do something with his life. Sydney realizes that Adrian is a lot like her. They're expected to do certain things and act in certain ways, and it's difficult when people don't listen to them or help. She tells him she'll help him, and the dream dissolves.
The next day, Jill explains to Sydney that while she was off campus with Lee the day before, he took her to a boutique where she was offered a modelling job for an upcoming fashion show put on by the owner. Sydney thinks this will be a fantastic opportunity for Jill since she's bullied for being so tall and thin, but they find out later that Jill is grounded by the school for sneaking off campus and she won't be allowed to leave. Oh no. That also means she won't be allowed off campus for her feedings.
Eek.
Yeah. Sydney scrambles and makes up religious services that they have to attend and can only get permission for Jill to go if they provide the school with a note from a parent or guardian. Sydney writes one and asks Keith if he will sign it. He's a shitbag about it because, of course, he's a total jerk, but offers to come to the campus later to sign the note. Sydney goes by Miss Twellinger's room and remembers that she said she knows people at the same local college that Adrian wants to go to. When Sydney asks if Miss Twellinger knows anyone she can talk to at admissions, Miss Twellinger offers to help because it's clear that no one ever helps Sydney with anything. Miss Twelliger says she's seen it all before. Parents who don't care about their kids, and the kids who often work really hard, are always forgotten and never appreciated. The only thing she asks for in return is for Sydney to try to make one of the charms from their spells and rituals work.
Interesting. Later, when Sydney waits for Keith, Julia and Kristen come by. They talk about Jill's fashion modeling opportunity and how she's upset that she can't participate. But the girls have an idea. They suggest that Jill join the sewing club and use the modeling experience as a volunteer opportunity. That just might work. Keith finally shows up and is, of course, shitty. This time about how he's always having to cover for her, which definitely is not true. He also mentions whatever happened when he lived with her family for a little while. Sydney tells him he's made her life miserable and resolves to herself that if he gets her sent to a re-education center, she's taking him down too.
Good. When Sydney takes the letter to the office, she asks about a student who died that one of the school officials mentioned when Jill was missing the other day. The student who died was murdered. Her throat was slit. This makes her wonder if the girl was a Moroi. Sydney talks to Jill about it later, and they try to find out anything they can about the girl. Jill has an idea to check yearbooks, and will look into it. Sure, it would be bad to find out 3 Moroi girls were killed in the same way in a short amount of time, but it might be worse, or it would make less sense if there were 2 Moroi and a human. What would that mean?
Not vampire hunters. I like how whenever I lean in to say
you're
something,
whispering to the bird.
I'm telling the bird secrets. Hey bird, it's not vampire hunters, bird.
Are you going to name the bird? I feel like you should name the bird.
Sure. Oh, I just got teary-eyed because I was leaning in talking to the bird. Hey there, bird. What's up, bird?
Tell the bird all your secrets.
I am going to. The best part about this is that I'm going to leave all the bird stuff in the episode and no one's going to know what we're talking about.
However, they will be able to know what the hell you're talking about if they go to Patreon and sign up to the bonus tier and watch the videos. Because goddamn people, this is gold.
Okay. We shouldn't be having so much fun right now. People are getting murdered.
Oh, dang.
People are being murdered, bird. Mr. Williger calls Sydney and tells her to take Adrian to the college to talk to her friend there. Adrian learns that it's too late to start classes now since he has no paperwork or applications, but he can start auditing classes now and then be retroactively enrolled. He picks 2 art classes, and he and Sydney leave. She's impressed with his drive to start classes, and she's even more impressed that he has already been planning how to get to campus, which includes riding a bus for an hour. He just really wants to be out of Clarence's. He mentions Keith coming by earlier to check on Clarence and says that Clarence isn't doing well. It wouldn't be good for their feeding situation if Clarence had to be taken to a Moroi hospital. Hopefully it won't be so bad.
Back at campus, Sydney gets to work performing the spell for Miss Twelliger. After 2 hours, she's completed it and now has a fire charm. Yay!
Yay!
Miss Twelliger doesn't want the charm. She only wanted to see if the spell worked. So Sydney shrugs and keeps it. What she's going to do with this ungodly piece of magic that probably won't even do anything, she doesn't know, but she puts it in her purse. She goes back to her dorm to find the door vandalised with bats and the words "Vamp Girl." Inside the room are school officials performing a search. When they leave, Jill explains that Laurel, the bully, told the officials that Jill sold her alcohol. God damn. She also says that Laurel is working on a project for the yearbook club and that she has all the yearbooks that Jill wanted to look through.
Damn you, Laurel.
Jill tried asking nicely to borrow them, saying that she knows that she and Laurel have their differences, but that Laurel told her she'd never get the yearbooks, and now all this has happened. Is it possible that Laurel knows what's going on? Or that she knows that Jill is actually a vampire? Surely not. Either way, Sydney is going to get her back. She's going down.
She's planning something rotten, Bird. I wonder what it will be. I really enjoy telling secrets to the bird. Also, his name is just Bird.
I'm glad we've established that.
I'm wasting time now because there's so much fucking sound outside the window. Me and Bird are conversing about it. Secretly.
I like how your accent changes when you talk to Bird.
Bird is very important to me. He knows all of my secrets.
He knows too much. He cannot be let out of the cage.
Bird. Oh my god, the beeping is never gonna stop. Oh, it stopped! Oh my god!
Quick, quick, quick!
Sydney's plan to get back at Laurel is a simple one. Replace her shampoo with something that will make her hair look gross.
Petrol.
And that's exactly what happens. I don't know what it is. It's something from her kit, from her alchemist kit. Trey talks to Sydney about coming to watch him play football, even though he probably won't even get to play since Slade and his football bros appear to have had their tattoos redone. She says she'll go after Trey mentions having a strict father who forces him to be in peak physical condition at all times. Kind of sounds like Sydney's dad. She's also curious about the tattoos and how they got back into business so quickly. Later, Sydney takes Jill to the boutique, where all the schemes at getting her to be a model have played out perfectly. While Jill's practicing her model walk with Eddie and Lee to supervise, Sydney slips out and goes to Nevermore.
She has a plan to try to get a tattoo, but when she walks in, the tattooist assumes she's there with her golden lily on her face to give him more alchemist supplies. She plays along with it and tells him she's just there to see how things are going and that not all the alchemists think he deserves any more supplies after he let the last batch get stolen. The tattooist says the guy said everything would be fine. Sydney realises the guy is Keith. The penny dropping at this point sounds like a clonk.
It does.
She puts this together when she realises that her dad told her he was replacing her with Zoe immediately after she found out about the tattoos and talked to Keith about them. Son of a bitch.
I was just about to say, Keith is the son of a bitch.
He's not getting a t-shirt. He doesn't deserve one.
This hand is the son of a bitch, Bird.
Later, Sydney calls Adrian for assistance in pinning the tattoo stuff on Keith. When she goes to pick him up, he ushers her inside to see Clarence, who looks really sick. He also says that Keith was there again and asks what he could be doing to Clarence to make him ill. I kind of half expected you to talk to the bird at this point, I'm honest.
Keith is taking his blood, Bird. That's what he's been doing every time he's surprisingly at their house when he's not supposed to be there.
And his saliva.
He's stealing vampire blood and spit.
Yeah, he's definitely taking the blood and the saliva. The ingredient she couldn't figure out earlier, which is what makes the tattoos so addictive and mesmerising. This is about to get bad. I don't know what we're talking about. The summary of the bird.
Bird, it's about to get real bad. Bird. Before they leave to go after Keith, Adrian takes Sydney through Clarence's living room, which is filled with different works of art, all painted by Adrian. Sydney is impressed with how diligently Adrian has taken to his college art classes. Then they make a plan to lure Keith out of his apartment so Adrian can search for any clues or any materials Keith might have used to take Clarence's blood. If he finds anything, he will contact the alchemists and let Sydney know. She drops Adrian off and heads to a diner about 20 minutes away, where she will call Keith and ask him to meet her to talk about Carly. This gets him out of the apartment immediately.
Ooh.
Mmm.
While Sydney waits for Keith to arrive, she checks a voicemail that is from the college that Adrian is auditing classes at. The voicemail says that it's not going to work out the way they had hoped and that he won't get retroactively added to his classes. That's bad. But there are more important things to deal with right now. Like Keith! When he arrives at the diner, he starts in on Sydney being a vampire lover and how he's going to call and get her sent to the re-education centre in the morning. She gets a text from Adrian that he found something and the alchemists are on their way. Keith starts to leave, but Sydney stops him by mentioning Carly again. Turns out, while Keith was living with them, he raped Carly, her older sister. He says he didn't do anything to her that she didn't want and calls Carly a slut, which makes Sydney angry enough to throw her coffee at him. She says she wishes he lost both of his eyes, which makes him mad enough to leave. She tries to get him to stay again, which makes him realise she's trying to distract him from something, so he leaves for home and Sydney follows. When they arrive, they are met by alchemists searching all over Keith's apartment. He's been busted.
Thank Bird he's been busted.
What an asshole.
He's terrible.
Words do not...
He's terrible.
Ugh. Rage.
Rage face.
Yeah.
A little while later, everyone is at Jill's fashion show. I feel like it's like so nice. What a nice ending to the story. But wait, there's more.
Oh.
Bird, there's still more things going on, Bird. A little while later, everyone is at Jill's fashion show. While waiting for Jill's turn down the runway, Trey talks to Sydney about busting the enchanted tattoo parlor and ruining Slade's quarterback status, and how he appreciates her for doing it, even though she admits to nothing. She teases him about a non-illicit sun tattoo he has, which he gets embarrassed by and leaves. That's odd. Adrian arrives, and he is in a bad mood, but Sydney expected that and ignores him. When Jill comes out, she looks amazing and exudes confidence. Adrian, however, is surly and angry. It's a wonder that Jill's not experiencing his anger at Sydney for not telling him about his financial aid falling through. He's pretty petty about it, and he and Sydney fight back and forth quite a bit, so much that Sydney decides to leave the fashion show after party so as not to ruin Jill's night and cause a scene. She tells them all she's going to go to Keith's to clean stuff up, but on her way out, she's stopped by Laurel, who begs her for help with her hair. Ever since Sydney saved Kristen's life with her tattoo reaction, she's been known as the dorm pharmacist. Sydney planned for Laurel to seek her help, of course, so she tells her that if she helps, Laurel will leave Jill alone. And she agrees. She also gives Sydney the yearbooks Jill asked her about, thanks her, and tells her she's scary.
Oh, she says the sweetest things. Aww.
Aww.
Sydney gets to Keith's and sees that he must have been making some seriously big bucks with the illicit tattoos. His apartment is full of fancy stuff. She decides to take the food out of his cabinets back to Eddie and Jill, and she wishes she could take his giant TV and cushy recliner, but those just won't fit in latte. She curls up in the recliner to look at the yearbooks, but is interrupted by Lee, who knocks on the door and enters. He sees she's looking at pictures of the girl who was murdered, and then sees her reaction to the girl's prom picture from 5 years ago, and her date. Who is Lee? How is that possible? He's only 19. No, he looks 19 in the prom picture. That's weird. Then he says he's sad that Keith got caught and puts a knife on Sydney. Pulls a knife on Sydney. Then he says he's sad that Keith got caught and pulls a knife on Sydney.
Fucking yikes. Fucking yikes, Bird.
This is not expected.
This is not good, Bird. This is not good. Turns out, Lee used to be Strigoi.
Oh no.
But some spirit user restored him.
I got
Since
better.
then, hey! Since then, he's been trying, unsuccessfully, to become Strigoi again. But it's not working. He's killed and drained Moroi, Dampier, and a human, but he's still not changing. He was going to drain Keith, thinking that an alchemist's blood would be special and work. Plus, Keith was an asshole, so he deserved to be drained. But now he's gone, and Sydney's the only alchemist left in Palm Springs, so it has to be her.
Oh,
He doesn't want to kill her because Jill likes her, and he loves Jill, and is going to turn her Strigoi too, so they can be young and immortal forever. Fucking sheesh.
No.
Luckily, Adrian arrives then to apologize to Sydney, but now he is also caught up in this fiasco.
Dang it. Lee forces Adrian to handcuff himself and sit in the corner. He takes Adrian's tie and ties Sydney up with it, but he doesn't know that her super strict father taught her all about knots. She and Adrian try to talk to Lee to convince him to, not drain Sydney, but he's got to be Strigoi again. Sydney realises that maybe Jill is picking up on what's going on with Adrian through the bond and hopes that she and Eddie are on the way. Lee tries Sydney's blood and is completely disgusted by it and knows that it won't work to make him Strigoi again, but doesn't know why it's so gross. He gets furious now and calls some Strigoi friends, offering Adrian and Sydney to them in exchange for them biting and turning him Strigoi that way. Sydney gets her knots untied and smashes Lee in the face with a yearbook. She and Adrian try to run, but Lee comes at them again, so she punches him in the face, knocking him back into the comfy chair. Feel sorry for the comfy chair. Mm-hmm. Just as she and Adrian make it to the door, though, the Strigoi come in.
Oh, fuck.
Dang it.
The Strigoi pretty much immediately talk about eating everyone in the room. Lee shrieks that they're supposed to change him first, especially since he knows where they can get more Moroi and a Dampier. One of the two Strigoi begins to drain Lee while Sydney watches, disgusted and terrified. The Strigoi then begins to feed her blood back to Lee, but nothing happens. He doesn't become Strigoi. He becomes a corpse.
Ooh, wop wop.
Sydney shouts that he was restored by a spirit user, so he can't be changed back, which is kind of amazing, but not right now. This is not the time for that. It's not the time for that, Sydney. The Strigoi move in on her, but just like with Lee, they think she tastes bad. So they go for Adrian instead.
Adrian, of course, is delicious. But before they can drain him, Sydney regains some composure and looks for any sort of weapon to use against the Strigoi. She doesn't want them to hurt Adrian. He's tried so hard to keep her safe. In her purse, she finds the fire charm she made for Miss Twirlinger. Sydney reasons that it won't work, but it's at least a bag of rocks, so she throws it at the Strigoi and chants the incantation that will supposedly ignite the bag. And it works! Oh my god, it works! It's not a huge flame, but it distracts the Strigoi enough to get Adrian free. Then, thank goddess, Eddie and Jill arrive. Sydney turns on the faucet and Jill uses her water magic to form a club to beat one of the Strigoi. That's mint. Then Eddie stakes them both. Once order is restored, Adrian begins to heal Sydney, but she freaks out about his vampire magic, so they decide they'll go to the doctor instead.
Fine. A week or so passes, and Sydney spends a lot of time telling and retelling the story of what happened to the alchemists. There are a few puzzles left unsolved, however, like how Lee, after being restored, seemed to stop aging and potentially lost his ability to use magic. And who was the spirit user who restored him? There's also the question of why Sydney's blood was disgusting to everyone. Also, that fire that happened. That's the only thing that Sydney could answer, but she's keeping it quiet for now, until she can get some answers of her own about it from Mr. Williger.
The alchemists are planning to work with Moroi spirit users and others knowledgeable about spirit use to try to solve these puzzles. Sonia Karp has agreed to assist, but Lissa is too busy being queen. If only there was a spirit user currently here in town with nothing to do. Think. Sydney thinks that Adrian would help if he could get out of Clarence's house. This is almost perfect because Keith's apartment is available, but they have offered Sydney his position, which would come with his apartment. They've also found a Dampier who will take over Sydney's role with Jill. Sydney doesn't really want to stop working with Jill, so she suggests staying at Amberwood, in a different room of course, gotta convince everyone that she's not a vamp lover, and give Adrian the apartment. With that all sorted, Sydney goes to talk to Miss Twilliger.
Sydney is upset with Mr. Williger. Turns out Mr. Williger knew the spell would work and knows all about Sydney being an alchemist, and that Jill is a vampire, and that Eddie is a Dampier. Sydney is mad that she was forced to do magic when she's so vehemently opposed to it, but Mr. Williger knew that. And she knew that as an alchemist, Sydney would have the discipline to study and perform the spell correctly. It's a bonus that she apparently has innate magical ability, maybe even more than Mr. Williger herself has as a coven member.
Not shocked.
Sydney doesn't want anything to do with magic, but will continue assisting Mr. Williger if she'll leave magic out of it. So they agree. She won't mention Sydney using magic again until she asks.
Back with Eddie, Jill and Micah, Sydney confronts Eddie about being in love with Jill, which she only realised during the Strigoi fight. He doesn't think he's good enough for Jill and wants her to be happy, and Micah's a good guy, so it's fine. Sydney then confronts him about Micah reminding him of Mason, which he learned about during an unimportant conversation with Adrian. This is also true, but Micah is a good guy, just like Mason was, and he deserves the best. Sydney doesn't understand any of this, but she also doesn't understand love or relationships, so what does she expect? After this, she goes to Adrian's new apartment. He's completely redone the inside and gotten new to him furniture and seems to be doing very well. He and Sydney talk a little bit about the attack, then the respect that they have for each other, for saving each other's lives, and then that possibly begins to become something more. But then Abe arrives with the Dampier who's going to be taking Sydney's place with Jill. It's Angeline from the Keepers, from Last Sacrifice. Those weirdos.
Yay!
Yay!
Sydney, Adrian, and Abe talk about how they've all been pulling strings and solving riddles about Keith and Clarence. Turns out, Abe knew Clarence was selling his blood and wanted Adrian there to keep an eye on Clarence, but he did not know that Keith was involved. Abe knows about Clarence selling his blood because he was behind that, and as the Moroi godfathers may, he didn't want anyone else involved with his schemes. We also learn what Abe has over Sydney, which we've all been wondering about since Spiritbound. Knowing that Abe is the Moroi godfathers may, Sydney asked for his help in punishing Keith for raping her sister. Abe staged the Strigoi attack in which Keith lost his eye, and he was, in fact, the one who removed it. Now, Sydney has to work for him. Angeline is standing in the background during this discussion and has no idea what's going on, but then the rest of the spirit entourage arrives, ready to figure out all the restoration issues. Sonia Karp, who is a spirit user, and who was once Strigoi, and Dmitry Belikov.
Oh, yes.
Damn you, Belikov!
He's so hot.
Are you happy? Are you happy that he's back?
Check out my grin.
Oh my goodness, we need to take a break. That was a long summary.
We need to feed the bird.
We need to feed the bird.
Hi, this is Leah Stuhler, creator and host of YA Book Chat podcast. If you love reading young adult books and chatting about them with your friends, then head on over to my podcast and take a listen. Each episode, my guest and I chat about a different YA book. We start spoiler-free and then head into our spoiler section where we dive into the mysteries of each book. And we do it with laughs and fun along the way. You can listen to YA Book Chat on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcast. And now, back to the show.
So, where to begin? There is a lot to unpack.
There is a lot. There is a lot of this one. There's a lot of setup, and there are a lot of key points.
Could go in a few directions as well. It's not entirely clear which direction it's going to go in, like the overarch. I will say, no, it's probably going to be my surprise. So I might be a bit too soon.
Okay. Yeah.
So, what aspects did you not remember?
I kind of forgot, honestly, about Lee. I forgot all about Lee. I forgot all about Lee being a murderer.
To be fair, if it wasn't for the fact he was a former Strigoi, current wants to be a Strigoi, he's a pretty forgetful character.
Yeah. I also forgot that he was in love with Jill, and everyone was okay with that.
Right, let's get this bit over with, because we may be getting onto some kind of soapbox here. And I don't want to step on people's toes about it, but, you know, I've got thoughts and feelings.
What are your thoughts and feelings?
Right, so, when Lee starts to date Jill, he's 19 and she's 15. That's a bit dodgy. Like, he's technically... I mean, I'm going by UK age laws, okay? She is very not legal for anything. He is very legal for everything, you know? And that makes him an adult.
Yeah, especially since he is older than 19.
Now we have to plus on the 5 years as well. So he's actually 24, dating a 15-year-old. I'm sorry, that's not right. That's too young.
No.
The age difference, you know, even if it was the 4 years to 9 years, it's nothing when you're a little bit more mature in both ages. So if she was 19 and he was 9 years older, that's fine. If Jill was older, if she was 19 and he was 9 years older, if, you know, he was 27, I'd be perfectly fine with that. It would be a little bit better. Because there's, like, the legalities behind it makes it less suspect, especially if the relationship becomes a physical relationship. It's not, it just feels very awkward to me.
It's gross. It's really gross to me because she's 15. And, you know, Sydney was weird about it being Micah, but, I mean, they're in high school together, so that's a little less awkward. But also, he's a human, which is really what I think
that's what Sydney's main
was so hung up on.
Yeah, that's what Sydney's main issue was, the fact that he's human, not the age difference.
She still didn't like the age difference, though.
No.
But then it was Lee, and he's a Moroi, and it's fine. And yuck.
Stop having all these double standards and triple standards because somebody is a Dhampir or Moroi or a human or, you know, stop it. Stop having one rule for one and one rule for another. It's just not right. It's not cool.
Yeah, no, none of it's good. None of it's good.
Gross. It was gross.
I get Jill, needing to have friends and relationships and stuff as she's in a brand new high school, and so yeah, of course she needs to make friends and go on dates with boys and all that sort of stuff, but just yikes.
Within a certain age bracket, not somebody who is so much older than you.
Yeah, it was pretty yikes.
I just did not like it.
Should be Eddie. Should be Eddie, man.
Eddie.
I love Eddie.
But the problem is, Eddie's 18, 19 as well. Because he is the same age as Rose, and they both went through Guardian graduation together.
Yeah.
So there is, again, this age difference. Jill needs to be a bit older. She needs to be a bit older, and I'm not comfortable with it. It's like I say, if things got physical, which, physicality is part of a relationship, that's fine if you are so inclined. It's statutory rape for her age. Even if she consents, it's still not legal.
Yeah, it's not cool.
And I don't know the age differences in America, but it's 16 in the UK, and, it's not cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, I have problems. You have problems.
Yeah.
We have problems.
Yeah, we have problems with it. It's fine. We don't have to worry about it right now because Lee is dead.
Yay! God. Yeah, it's fine. He was an asshole. He was a murdering asshole. He killed his own cousin.
Yeah. It's not good.
No.
It's not good.
No.
No, it's terrible. Who's worse?
Who's worse?
Lee or Keith?
Lee or Keith.
Because they were both really terrible. I mean, I guess probably in the grand scheme of things, Lee is worse because he's a murderer.
Yes, but Keith raped someone, and that person is still alive, but they have to live with that for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
What is worse?
Ugh. Yeah. This was...
Both of them are absolute jerk assholes, and this fictional world is better without them.
Yes. But, I mean, Keith's not dead. He's just been carted away by the alchemists. So...
That guy's not going to
Re-education center that we don't really know what that is, but it was mentioned several times.
That guy ain't coming out of the re-education center. This sounds really bad, and it might be me painting the alchemists in a negative colour, but bearing in mind, based on the alchemists we've met, apart from Sydney, they're all assholes. In the alchemist's eyes, I actually think Keith's worst crime will be the selling of the alchemical compounds to the tattoo artist, not the fact he committed rape.
No,
Which
not
is
the fact that
wrong.
he committed rape, not the fact that he's stealing blood and saliva from vampires. Mm-hmm. It's that he's giving away the alchemist's secrets.
He's selling the secrets.
He's selling the secrets.
To get comfy recliners and big screen TVs and fancy food.
Right. It seems, though, that his alchemist tattoo isn't really working anymore.
Nope.
So that's something that we're going to need to think about.
Definitely.
As we go on.
These
tattoos, man.
These face tattoos. These goddamn face tattoos. Why would you have it on the face? You're trying to be a secret society, and you put the tattoo in the most bloody obvious place. I don't get it.
Yeah, I really don't get it. Even though it's like, it's not highly visible. It's not like a great big heavy black outline on your face. It's just shiny gold. So it's not super noticeable, but it's a fucking face tattoo.
Yeah.
So people are going to see it. Like, why not a neck tattoo? You know, just right here, like
or at
right
the back
below
of
the
the
ear.
neck.
Or, well, we've already got tattoos on the backs of our necks.
Fine, true, but
just right here.
You're trying
right here
to be a secret society.
Yeah, don't.
Sydney
don't
literally
put a tattoo
walked
on
into
your
the
face.
school, and 2 minutes later, it's like, oh, like your face tattoo. Is that what makes you smart? 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yeah. Immediate face tattoo. There's so many sounds going on right now. I really need to apologize to everyone listening to this episode because I ain't going to be able to edit them all out. It's not going to be pretty. Cats meowing, jumping on boxes, and sirens and beeping and everything else happening. It's not good. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by it. And so I'm sure our listeners are too. Putting Keith and Lee aside for a moment, because those are very serious things. Those are big, huge points of the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
The third huge point of the storyline, which wasn't so huge necessarily, Mr. Williger making Sydney make magic.
Ha 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 ha.
How cool is that? Sydney's
Yes.
like, this is never going to work. This stupid arcane spell isn't going to do anything. Holy shit, it made fire.
Now, did Miss Twilliger go ha ha ha? Or was she a stereotype or not?
I don't think she's a stereotype. And this is something else that I had, not that I had forgotten about the storyline, because obviously I remembered this being a thing, but I didn't include Bloodlines in our Season of the Witch book club stuff because I couldn't remember when that started in the series.
It's too much of a spoiler as well.
Yes. So I just had to leave the tag off of that one. But we don't really know anything about it yet either. There's only one mention of Mr. Williger saying, yeah, you're pretty fucking powerful, and I'm a member of the Coven. What Coven? Like, what is this Coven? What does this mean? And it's just like with the re-education centers. It's mentioned several times, but there's no details about it.
No.
There's nothing about it. But you know, they're probably both gonna come into play in the next couple of books.
And if they don't, I'm writing a strongly worded letter and retroactively sending it. But this is it. It's like, you've made me do magic. You're part of a coven. You're a witch. Hang on, I didn't know anything about this. I'm sorry, but alchemists are so hung up on vampires to the exclusion of everything else.
Yep.
If Moroi can do magic, why can't others? Alchemy is a form of magic, really. You know, it's potions. Science is magic. It's just magic you can understand. So why not? And I am ridiculously excited about it.
On everything. Yes,
I'm so excited about it because it's a different thing. It's a different dynamic to it. It doesn't have to be a series completely hung up on vampires. And I can't believe I've just said that. We all know my thoughts and feelings about vampires, but we still have vampires, so it's fine. But it's adding in that extra magical element, which I'm very excited about.
It will be very exciting to reread the rest of this series. I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad we're doing it. Because, yeah, that's really cool. And just the fact that Sydney is the one who had to do this when she is so vehemently opposed to magic. I enjoy it. I enjoy that she's the one who had to do it.
I do. I thought her reactions to the magic use was kind of, I don't know, it felt a little extreme. Like, she's been around it a bit, somewhat. I thought maybe she's sort of desensitized, but then she's been around Dampiers rather than Moroi. So I guess, yeah. She's more she's more used to Rose and Dimitri, a little bit of Ms. Carp, a little bit.
Right.
Of the Dashcloths, but yeah.
Yeah, she didn't spend too entirely long with them before, and remember back when she was in Russia, she was still, like, interning, so she wasn't super involved with everything, and she was really just blackmail working for Abe on account of his removing Keith's eyeball. So
I would love to know how Sydney got Abe's telephone number to go, "Hi, godfather of the Moroi, can you come and remove this person's eye because he's a asshat rapist?"
I love that he's just like, of course I will. You have to work for me, though.
I mean, it comes at a high price. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that Sydney seeks revenge, and she's slow and methodical and precise about it. It cannot and will never be traced back to her. I mean, Laurel, you dumbass. Bullying Jill, and then something happens to your hair? And you don't think, maybe the dorm's pharmacist has something to do with this, because I've been a shithead to her sister. No, I'm just going to go and ask her for the cure.
Yeah.
Laurel, you're an idiot.
Yep.
You're an idiot for being a horrible bully, but you're also an idiot for not putting two and two together. Speaking of not putting two and two together, how did Sydney not work out Keith's scam sooner? The signs were all there.
The signs were all there.
The signs were all there when she was told about the tattoos, you know?
Yeah.
After that, it'll be just going looking for the evidence.
But she's so alchemy brainwashed that, of course, the alchemists can't have anything to do with it, because the alchemists are perfect in every way.
You see, I don't think she's as brainwashed as that, because when the scene's with her father and she's trying to protect Zoe from becoming an alchemist, she knows that being an alchemist, that lifestyle is not great, and she is sacrificing herself for her sister Zoe. And obviously Carly's not going to be an alchemist because of what went down with Keith. So we know Carly's off having a life.
Yeah.
So, Sydney's sacrificed herself, become an alchemist, and she does not want to be an alchemist. She wants to be studying architecture in Rome and visiting
and driving cars.
Driving cars, getting her hands dirty, She wants to drive really fast in really big cars and go and see really cool architecture. That's her life. That's her life's dream. But no, she's stuck being an alchemist and having to juggle not potential friendships, but at least sympathies for the Moroi, and the understanding that you're not tarnishing everybody with the same brush.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's fully indoctrinated into the alchemist lifestyle. I don't think she ever has been, but she's certainly been brought up to be fearful of them. That's definitely there, especially with her reactions to Jill playing with water in the golf course.
Yeah. And not being healed by Adrian.
Yeah.
After she was partially drained by Strigoi. I have a question about that, though. I have a question about... I'll have several questions about magic use in this one. Why didn't Adrian heal Clarence when Clarence is obviously ill or something's going on, and he drags Sydney over to, hey, come and check this out. There's something wrong with this guy, and, he's sick all the time. So...
It's a very good question.
Why didn't he heal Clarence?
Because it's not as if his magic doesn't work on the Moroi. Hello, Shadow-Kissed.
Right.
Maybe he had an inkling something was extra wrong, something in particular, and he needed Sydney to see Clarence at his full distress.
Yeah, we don't really know a whole lot from Adrian's perspective.
No,
now.
Can he heal? I was going to say, can he heal blood loss? Because that's recreating red blood cells, whereas if he's healing a cut, he's closing the wound. Might be something along those lines? I don't know. Could be.
I
don't know.
Also, maybe he just wants Clarence out of the picture.
That's also a possibility.
Yeah. Another question that I have, and I guess it's it possibly has something to kind of a surprise, maybe, that Lee couldn't use magic anymore after being restored, but Ms. Carp could, and can, and does.
Yes, I thought that was a bit peculiar. I don't know if it's got a link to do with the fact that Ms. Carp is spirit, so it's different, or Lee was just a really shit elemental user beforehand and is using it as a piss poor excuse for being even more basic.
Yeah, could be. I suppose we'll just have to keep reading the series to find out the answers to these questions. Because, Rochelle Mead will not leave us hanging.
No. She's a very smart writer. And this is... vampire fiction can sometimes be tarnished with the it's not really good fiction book that brush the same as romance can get tarnished with it.
Right.
But it's smart. If it's done right, it's smart. And all the way through Vampire Academy series, there's little bits included, little tidbits included, and it eventually all ties together and it comes together nicely and it explains it all. And this, start of a new series, it's all starting to be, it's unravelled again. And we're finding the threads, and because this is, how we read books, but also because we're going to come together and discuss them, we look for all of these threads, and sometimes they are complete red herrings, they're not going to lead anywhere, but we like to unpick it, really, to find detail. So it might be nothing, it might be something. We're still so early days. Who can say?
I know, and there was so much set up in this one. There was a lot thrown at us in this book.
Loads of setup, but also a nice amount of callbacks.
Yes.
Having A been fantastic. Dimitri and Ms. Carp at the end. I'm actually more excited to have Ms. Carp in than I am for Dimitri. As hot as I think Dimitri is, he's had his time to shine. This is a different series. It's Adrian's time now, so Dimitri can take a step back. That's fine.
Yes.
But Angeline coming back in from the Keepers. And what did we say when we read Last Sacrifice? Well,
I knew you were going to be so excited when Angeline popped up, because at the end of Last Sacrifice, you're like, who are these people? And why are they added in? Why are they even important? What is this? And I'm like hiding in the corner going, oh God, just wait for it, Claire.
Exactly.
She's coming back.
Exactly.
Don't worry.
You never, especially in the last book of a series, throw in something as big as the Keepers and don't have them come back in with relevance.
Yeah.
I would have actually been more annoyed if Angeline hadn't come in this one and it'd been left for another 2 or 3, because it was too big of a thing. Far too big of a thing. But mind you, she's gone through Guardian school really quick.
Well, she's not a Guardian. They didn't call her a Guardian. They called her a Dhampir. So we don't necessarily know what's going on with Angeline right now.
True. Could be a little bit. She does have a lot of real world experience, fighting experience, so she could be going down the Guardian route. But right, but different.
She was definitely only called a Dhampir, not a Guardian. No. So
this is really awful for jail, though. It's like, you're not worthy of a Guardian, not a full one. We'll give you the one that's done the bad things and is on the road for redemption, and this other one that's completely untried and tested from this group of people called the Keepers, who we all think do dodgy practices because they just intermingle.
I think a lot of that, though, is probably because something that we learned in Vampire Academy, there aren't a ton of female Dhampirs who are in training to become Guardians, and then the ones that graduate and are Guardians are probably, there's not very many of them. There's a handful, and they have probably been swooped up for jobs already.
Yeah.
And we know that, Rose really wanted to be there, but Rose kind of has a slightly more important person to take care of. Yeah. Though Jill is very important, because if Jill's not alive, then Lyssa can't be queen until they fix all of that.
Stupid law.
Which is stupid. But
I also like the idea that they've used these people who are not on the radar. It helps. That does help to hide Jill. So, I mean, I do, as much as I'm thinking, oh, poor Jill's not getting a guardian, they are using the right people. People who aren't either there. People don't know about Angeline. She's this unknown quantity. And Eddie's this person in disgrace. So you kind of think, well, whatever side he is on is not important.
Yeah.
Poor Eddie. But yay, Eddie's back.
Poor Eddie. But yay, Eddie. But poor Eddie. But yay, Eddie. What else? God, so much happened in this book. What else is there?
The other thing, while we're talking about setups, is it Trey? And his sunshine tattoo that he doesn't want Sydney to see? Vampire hunter, cough, cough. Vampire hunter, cough. I'm sorry.
Picked up on that, did ya? You picked up on that, did ya?
That was the most unsubtle drop. Really? So he actually has a tattoo that is hidden. Alchemists, do you want to take a hint there? He has it on his back. You know, the only way you're going to see it is if he's not wearing a top.
Right.
Okay? And it's a sunshine. I wonder what that could mean.
I think in this case, you're right. That was a really obvious
It was a clunker.
Thing. I think that maybe if Clarence hadn't said, yes, the vampire hunters worship the sun, maybe if that line hadn't been added in, it wouldn't have been quite so obvious. You know, because here's a guy with a sunshine tattoo, which is, you know, kind of not the manliest tattoo to get. You know, get tattoos of whatever you want, but, you know, it could be, you know, I got this tattoo and I'm embarrassed by it and I don't want anyone to see it. It could have gone that route, but no, vampire hunters worship the sun and he's got a sun tattoo. Yeah. Obvious. Yeah. And we know that tattoos are very important in this world because the Dampiers get tattoos. Alchemists have tattoos.
On their face.
Face tattoos. So anyone with a tattoo is obviously going to be some kind of important.
It reeks of everything important, exactly. It's like, oh, for goodness sake. So yeah. I probably wasn't that very impressed by it. I mean, I'm fine with a vampire hunter being included in the cohort. That's fine. But the way it was done was the least subtle. And actually, it was a complete clunker. It was, yeah. Michelle Mead has done a lot subtler, a lot better. So it's kind of like, well, because it was standing out so much, because it was such a, you know, obvious thing, is it going to come out to the, you know, be part of the storyline sooner rather than later? I don't know.
Or is it a red herring and it's going to be something completely different?
It's going to go one of two routes, okay? Based on people like Sydney being a reluctant alchemist. She's whispering to the bird, by the way, listeners. I don't know what she's saying, but she's whispering to the bird. So it's going to go one of two ways. Either he is a vampire hunter. Fine. Kill all the vampires. Fine. Okay, that's it. Or it's a little bit like Sydney, where he's a reluctant vampire hunter, and either, you know, he takes it seriously, but he has a certain level of ennui about it. Potentially protecting a relative, like Sydney is protecting Zoe. So he's either going to be a full-on in the thrall of a vampire hunter, or he's going to be, I'm not bothered. But he is a vampire hunter.
Can he be a vampire hunter?
He has to be to survive this series. If he gets, you know,
He's gonna get turned Strigoi.
Something has to happen. I mean,
and then not
we
be
all
happy
know
about
the only
it.
acceptable vampire hunter is a vampire hunter.
That's right. I wonder what will happen with Trey.
Right, can we talk about the soul kiss for a second? The soul shadow kiss. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about being shadow kissed.
I hate it. I hate it.
I'm sorry.
I hate it.
I'm sorry.
It's... Do you know why I hate it?
No, I don't. Why?
We had that with the Vampire Academy. We had that with Lissa and Rose. I don't need it again. I don't want it again. I'm sorry. It annoyed me. It really annoyed me.
Yeah.
It annoyed me when Jill was drunk, when she's failing Adrian's reactions. It's obviously not a two-way street. We know this. She's getting it all. But it never established that I can recall in the Vampire Academy series that Rose struggled with the bond and would have Lissa's reactions like this. Like, we saw Lissa pissed as a fart, but Rose was completely fine. And I don't know if it's just because of Rose's constitution or the age of the bond, but it annoyed me. I don't need that again. It feels like it's a...
It's like, this again.
It's an element that's been done, and it's an element that I don't need in this. Or let's just end it now. Sonia Karp's gonna be there. Can she, make the steak, stab Adrian with it or something? I don't know. That's Strigoi. Goddamn. Let's just kill Jill for a second.
Yeah, kill her a little bit.
Kill her a little bit. Bring her back.
Fine.
It's fine. Sort it. I just don't need it. Sorry if that upsets people, but I just don't need it.
I do think that we did see Rose having Lissa's reactions to things, and I think it will be interesting to see how Adrian deals with this, because Adrian is a very different person than Lissa.
Oh yeah.
And Rose did get angry when Lissa got angry. And, Lissa really didn't have any other vices, though. Lissa's not smoking all the time and drinking all the time, so Rose wouldn't have anything like that. Because Lissa's very, very, straight-laced.
Lissa is the Coldplay of the Moroi. She's bland and does very little.
Yes. Except for now she's queen.
And now she's queen.
But Adrian is a very different person.
Oh gosh, yes.
So I think I get it. We've seen this, been there, done that. But maybe it'll be different. Maybe it'll be different this time.
The only thing I can see it doing is helping Adrian with his vices. And if it makes his lungs clean because he's not smoking, that's fine. But yeah. I don't know. I think I just don't need it right now. Yeah, if it helps Adrian in some way, then that's fine. Because, we do love Adrian. Adrian's huge sweetie. And he definitely...
I'm really glad that you just said you loved Adrian. That might be the first time you've admitted your love for him.
It's definitely friend zone love, yeah. I don't want to bone him, I'm sorry. I just want to go and have a couple of non-alcoholic beverages with him to help him with his vices.
She doesn't know how great he is, Bird.
No, Bird, I don't. Obviously not. And now we've got Dimitri.
I know. Ugh, damn you, Bellicone!
To be fair, Dimitri doesn't need to be in. I don't mind Ms. Carp being in because I really enjoyed Ms. Carp as a character as well, and I wouldn't mind her being in a little bit more. She was only in it for one book, so that's fine. But Dimitri had his time in the... I'm not going to say son, that feels culturally insensitive.
I know, I almost said that Adrian was going to have his time in the sun earlier when you were talking about Dimitri, coming in, and now it's Adrian's turn. I almost said it then, but then I thought, no, don't say that.
It's culturally inappropriate.
And also the vampire hunters are worshipping the sun.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sunshine in
It's Adrian's turn in the spotlight, especially after Rose was such a dick to him.
Yes.
And
I still haven't forgiven Rose, by the way.
No. I don't think we can. She tried him dirty. Really, really tried him dirty.
She did. And he's still struggling with it now. Granted, it hasn't been that long since all of that happened, but Adrian is a sweet, precious baby flower, and we need to take care of him.
Yeah. He is struggling by himself and has struggled by himself. To get to the, I don't know exactly how old Adrian is, I can't remember. He's in his 20s, obviously.
He's like 21.
Yeah.
22,
but to
maybe.
even get to that age and not be completely, spirit crazy, he's done really well. And he hasn't had, a friendship circle or a found family circle like Lissa's had, or a shadow kiss person until now.
Yeah.
Is this just the Dragomia's thing? Just shadow kiss everyone?
Yeah, but he's an Ivashkov, so...
Yeah, but Jill's a Dragomir.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've covered the main discussion points for standouts. Anything else? Favourite character?
I mean, Adrian. Obviously, Adrian is always going to be my favorite, but also Mr. Williger.
Yeah.
I really, really liked her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She's the kind of a kooky, crazy teacher that you don't really know what's going on with her because she's constantly calling everyone by incorrect names and is just spaced out and bouncing off the walls. But actually, she knows a whole bunch of stuff and is just not letting on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was super nice to Sydney.
She read Sydney. She knows everything about Sydney.
Yeah.
And it's nice that she has that mentor who's actually going to take care of her. And be like, send us the bill for those coffees.
Yeah. Yeah. And I liked that she said, okay, well, I'm not going to make you do any more magic until you tell me you want to do more magic. You're fine. You don't have to do it until you want to.
Mic drop. I'm out. Loved it.
Yeah.
I really rated her as a character. It was nice in this one because you had Mr. Williger there, and then the absolute jerk-offs on the other side. So you had all these lovely characters to love and hug. Yes. And then all these other ones that you want to stab.
Yes. Yes, I wanted to murder a lot of people in this book.
I'm going to jump ahead and tell you what my surprises were. But I've already said one. How Sydney didn't work out Keith's scam sooner. Sydney is uber intelligent. She's genius level. And it seemed to take a bit too long. But then she does have a lot on her plate and she has to be very careful. So, I will give her a lot of leniency with that. But I was really quite surprised that there was a double bad guy situation taking place in this one.
Yeah.
Keith could have
all the bad guys. All of them.
Keith or Lee could have easily got on for an extra book or something, But no, we had two absolute asshole jerk-offs in one book.
Yeah.
So I was quite surprised by that.
That was big.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but again, I'll say, Keith's not out of the picture. He's just been carted away and is in trouble. But he's not dead like Lee is dead.
We haven't seen the body. What I would love is an impalement. Vlad Tepes impalement. That shit went through the butt. Proper impalement goes through the butt. And that's what I want for Keith.
Yeah, he deserves that. He deserves that. He's terrible. I wish that Abe had taken more than his eye. Oh.
There's a couple of things I can think of.
Yeah, one or two. One or two things. I think I might have talked about my surprises already. I mean, I was really curious about Lee not having his magic. I thought that was interesting that he seemed to have lost his magical ability. And also, you know, I guess it is surprising that everyone's just cool with face tattoos.
In teenagers in high school, yeah.
I'm really put off by the face tattoos.
Do you have a legal age for tattoos in America?
On your own, yeah, you know, you have to be a legal adult. But if you have parental permission...
You say legal adult, but do you mean 18 or 21?
18.
It's the same in the UK. So if somebody was, 15, 16, 17, coming into school with tattoos...
Would have been weird.
Yeah, the questions would have been raised.
Yeah. And the fact that, you know, they're at this preparatory school and, you know, tattoos aren't allowed, which is fine. And she's fucking got one on her face.
Hello, look at my golden lily.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Yeah, I don't love the face tattoos. I don't love them.
No.
I don't appreciate a face tattoo.
I don't feel like I can see a person properly. I mean, tattoos in the vast majority of cases are a method of self-expression, which is fine. But it's like you can't get the geometry of somebody's face.
Yeah. And also it seems like all of the tattoos that we're experiencing in this world are not chosen. You know, the Molnia marks are brands, essentially. They're put on you when you do something. And just the face tattoos, man. And, you know, Golden Lily, like, they're all lilies. So even the male alchemists have this gaudy flower tattooed on their face.
And why a lily?
I don't know. We learned in our last book that lilies are the death flower.
Exactly.
So surely you don't want that.
Exactly.
Surely you don't want that.
It's on the face, man.
On the face. Face tattoos are the fucking worst. They are not classy.
No.
That's my biggest surprise is fucking face tattoos, man. Fucking face tattoos.
Oh, I think it's time.
I think it is time too. And you know what makes it even better that it's time is the first question is about fucking face tattoos.
Oh, dang it.
Pew, 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 pew. Pew, 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 pew.
So we asked on social media, would you rather go back to high school after graduating and be the smartest person there, but you have to have face tattoos, or be a secret vampire at the same school and get bullied? I mean, they're both shitty options.
They are both terrible options.
On Facebook, it was a straight up 50-50. On Instagram, 43% want a face tattoo and 57% want to be a secret vampire. On Twitter, 33% are having the face tattoo, which I'm actually surprised by, and 67% want to be secret vampires. And on TikTok, 26% want the smart face tattoo and 74% want to be a secret vampire. We had some really good comments this week.
We did. We had so many comments this week. I love them.
Yes.
I love them all.
And we're going to read them out now.
I mean, we need to read them out.
So Travis on Facebook said, I was always bullied, so I'd take the vampirism and totally go psychopath on some teenagers. Thanks, Travis.
Yeah, you know what, listeners? I am going to ask that Claire read more of these comments because there's so much fucking noise outside and I can't do anything about it. So I'm going to mute my microphone while Claire reads some really good comments.
And Amanda will laugh with her bird picture. Dakota on Facebook says, be smart with face tattoos. Nobody would mess with me if they did. I could get out of it without getting caught and in trouble. But I don't like others getting bullied, so some smart, sneaky retaliation would be going on over everyone bullying Jill.
You know what? The sound has stopped for now, so I'm gonna pop back in while I can. I really like Dakota's response.
Yes.
And I really liked Travis's too, quite a bit. Constance on Facebook. So glad she's back. Last time she didn't get to sing in response because she guest hosted, but Constance on Facebook said, "I woke up, Chris Breezy. Oh my god, I'm the man. Oh shit. I'm so fly and I can dance. Whoa, shit. There's tattoos on my neck. Oh. Lovely song responses. And then on Instagram, she sang us a different song. You're still a part of everything I do. You're on my heart, just like a tattoo. Just like a tattoo. I'll always have you. I'll always have you. I'll always have you." So clearly Constance is going to be an alchemist and she's going to have a face tattoo. That's what I'm getting from these song choices today.
It's subtle, but yeah, I'm getting the same thing.
Yeah.
Coral on Facebook said, "I think I would secretly be the vampire and get bullied, but hello, you're a vampire, so you can always go back and get those bullies."
Oh, yeah, you can. Colin on Facebook said, "I'll have the face tats, please. Nobody messes with a guy who's covered in prison tats." Nope.
Krillin Raffroy on Instagram says, "Go back with face tattoo. Being smart, I would be full of snarky commentary. It would totally shock everyone since I was so shy and quiet. Yes, me. Hard to believe, I know. In high school."
Oh, goodness.
She would mess them all up.
Bree Tart on Instagram said, "With this one, either way you get bullied, methinks. Or you are feared because genius with face tattoo is hardcore. Being the genius surrounded by an educational system that's way behind you, too frustrating. But Secret Vampire has the benefit of being able to get secret payback because magic/superpowers. And I'm still getting the face tattoo. Something moon related? Something with Celtic knots? Or both?" Retard, I love you.
It's amazing. L20 Kev on Instagram says, "A vampire's got to eat. Might as well feed from bullies than an innocent. You can even get with them after school hours. Not only with the bullies, but also with any teachers that mark/grade you low or give you a hard time for only coming to school on cloudy and rainy days. Save the nice teachers, though." That's a man with a plan.
Yes, indeed. He's got a plan.
All of them are very well thought out, all these comments, and I'm kind of thinking...
They really are.
People have thought about this before.
Yeah. People are contemplating face tattoos.
Yeah. And vampirism. If I had to go back to high school, would I rather have a face tattoo and be a genius or a vampire?
So what do you pick, Claire?
Gonna go vampire because vampire.
Obviously, because vampire. Come on.
Do we really need to answer this one ourselves? I mean, come on.
No, this question was clearly for everyone else because we will always choose vampire if vampire is an option.
Exactly. And
always.
I think our thoughts and feelings on face tattoos have already been well established at this point of the episode.
Indeed.
Next question.
Let's move on. Let's move on to our next question. Would you rather be shadow kissed / spirit bound with Lissa or Adrian?
Adrian,
hands down.
Adrian, hands down.
Adrian.
Lissa, as I have already said, is Coldplay beige. Do not need that. At least Adrian's got some interest about him. And also, I'm old enough to go on the drink with him, so, you know.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, you just want to help Adrian. Like I said earlier, he's like a sweet baby precious flower, and you want to help him grow. So
he needs friends.
So let's
I will be that shadow kiss friend.
Yeah, let's take some of his darkness away. Let's help him out.
Exactly.
You know, but talk to him. Talk to him about how his, constant drunkenness is negatively impacting my life as a high school student. Not the best.
No.
Maybe can you cut it out? Just a little bit.
Just a wee bit.
Just have a conversation. Have a conversation, which is something that we often shout about on our show.
I would buy him a pig by numbers as well.
Yes, I would definitely give him a paintbrush.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was nice and easy.
Yeah,
Next
it was.
question.
All of these they're fairly easy.
Yeah. Would you rather have a face tattoo or a glass eye? I mean, come on.
I mean, I'm going to pick the glass eye because it's a face tattoo. I don't want a face tattoo. I don't want to have earned the glass eye in the way that
No,
Keith
you won't
earned
have
his
earned the glass eye in the same way. No, because you're not a jerk off.
Yeah, so maybe if it had been the true reason he had, or what he said was the true reason for him having a glass eye, that he, lost his eyeball in a Strigoi attack, which, who's even going to believe that? Because Strigoi do not pop out your eyeballs and eat them. Like, that's not a thing.
If you believe that, you're a moron. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to have a glass eye. I'm not going to have a face tattoo. But I'm also going to be able to change out my glass eye and put different eyeballs in.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. You're going to live your best life as a Mad-Eye Moody cosplayer. Because of the glass eye. You can do that. Perfect. I am also going to pick glass eye and live out my best life as a sleuth, Columbo style.
Yes, this is also fine.
Exactly.
I also kind of thought, you remember everyone how I went through that Arnold Schwarzenegger phase a couple of months ago?
Oh, yes!
And there was Last Action Hero with Charles Dance having multiple glass eyes. Yeah, I'm going to do that too. Smiley face eye, bullseye eye.
This is very well thought out.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
It's happening.
I'm doing it.
Oh, dear me.
Okay, next question. Would you rather investigate the tattoos or Ms. Terwilliger's spells and rituals?
Ms. Terwilliger's spells and rituals. That shit's interesting. Yeah.
I almost think I'm going to investigate the tattoos. Especially if I'm Sydney. Because people are constantly talking about her face tattoo. Like, oh, are you smart because you have a face tattoo? No, that's literally the opposite of what she is because she has a face tattoo. But the tattoos are very perplexing, and people are getting things that they don't deserve because of these tattoos.
Almost through magic.
Almost as if magic were involved somehow. So yeah, I feel like I would want to investigate the tattoos.
Yeah, I mean, from Sydney's perspective, yes, it's going to be the face tattoos because magic is...
Also because she's terrified of magic.
She's terrified of magic. To her, it's abhorrent. The tattoos have some bearings on being an alchemist. So if I am Sydney, then investigate the tattoos. If I am me, spells and rituals, baby.
Yeah, I'm interested in the spells and rituals too. I want to do both.
Yeah.
I know that's not allowed because it's would you rather, but...
No option C is available in this question. I say this question because sometimes we do throw an option C in. Already?
We really do.
Last question. This is a toughie. I may even allow an option C. Would you rather violently murder Lee or Keith? Or in my opinion, correct answer, both.
Both. Yeah, I want to violently murder Lee. And I want Keith to live with his choices. I want him to be punished severely. But Lee, I'm gonna kill Lee. I'm gonna kill him.
Lee does need putting down. He is a danger to self and others. More others.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Keith is a danger to others. There could be other girls out there. This is the thing. You don't know. We don't know how many people Keith has done this to, because the way it's talked about in the book is that Carly never said no. He got her in a state where she could not say yes or no to anything. And I doubt this is the first time he has done that to someone, and I doubt it's the last time he's done that to someone. That creature has to pay. But I would torture the shit out of him first.
Yeah.
But the correct answer is both.
Both, yes.
Both.
Correct answer is definitely both. Definitely both. All right. I feel like Would You Rather was very simple today.
There was a lot more decisive choices. I mean, not face tattoos. Yes to vampires. Yes to vampires. Yes to Adrian.
Yes, definitely. All right, favorite final thought quote. What do you got?
I've got a few. And for some reason they're in bold. Takes a lot of tries before you hit perfection. He paused to reconsider that. Except for my parents, they got it on the first try.
Oh, Adrian.
I think most of my quotes are actually Adrian.
Probably mine as well.
All positive. My favourite.
I love that he's fucking with everyone. Especially Keith. He's torturing him the whole time.
Good. Everything's about my personal entertainment. The world is my stage. Keep it up. You're becoming a star performer in the show. I had to get an Abe one in, by the way. Sorry, Abe swept in, resplendent in a grey and yellow suit that coordinated bafflingly well with Adrian's paint job. Also, I didn't trust any guy who used more styling products than I did. I feel like I've heard that of something else as well, like, Queer Eye or something.
Probably, yeah.
I thought alchemists avoided alcohol the same way they do primary colours.
Oh, come on. Sydney is not as boring as everyone thinks she is.
No, she's not
Coldplay.
Coldplay.
Now.
She is not Coldplay.
She is not.
What do you got?
All right. I have several Adrian quotes as well.
He had the best lines, really.
He really, really did. Almost all of mine are Adrian. I have one that is not Adrian.
This does not surprise.
The greatest changes in history have come because people were able to shake off what others told them to do.
Oh, I like that.
No magic, I whispered. For God's sake, growled Adrian. This is superstitious bullshit. Even a psychopath recognized your worth enough to want to kill someone else first. Okay, now one that's not Adrian. Got a Ms. Terwilliger quote as well. Do not ever let anyone make you feel like you're less. Do not ever let anyone make you feel invisible. Do not let anyone, not even a teacher, who constantly sends you for coffee, push you around.
Yes.
She's so good.
She is. I had that one bookmarked, but I thought you might pick that one.
She's so good. All right, finally, something that was hinted at earlier in the episode. The description of Adrian's tattoo request.
Yes.
Can you draw a skeleton riding a motorcycle with flames coming out of it? And I want a pirate hat on the skeleton. And a parrot on his shoulder. A skeleton parrot. Or maybe a ninja skeleton parrot? No, that would be overkill. But it'd be cool if the biker skeleton could be shooting some ninja throwing stars that are on fire. I love that this is what he goes with. When he and Sydney go into Nevermore and she's like, hey, I need you to go distract this guy so I can snoop around in the bag. And he's just like rambling all of this crazy tattoo shit. You know, you could talk about anything. But no. Overly describe a ridiculous tattoo, Adrian. That's what you need to do.
It was perfect. I was killing myself with that scene.
He was perfect. He's perfect in every way. Okay. If you liked this, try this. What are you recommending this time?
I'm really struggling with vampire kind of equivalent stuff because we've done this is what 7 now.
But that's not even all the vampire books that we talk about because we also just talk about vampires all the time.
It is, but it's still difficult. I've gone for a very special book for me actually, and it is about vampires. Okay. Raise eyebrow. It's not YA, but to be fair, it's fairly gentle. And it's called Single White Vampire by Lindsay Sands. This is the first ever, like, what I would classify as a trashy romance vampire book I ever got. Ever.
That's really cute.
Before that, it was like, you know, you like the Vampire Academies, the Twilights, you know, that kind of. But this one was the first one where it would be an adult romance book with vampires. And my husband found it for me, which makes it even more delightful. And this is I'm actually, if you were watching on the bonus day, I'm actually holding it up. So yeah, it's Single White Vampire by Lindsay Sands, and every now and again I do go back and reread it, and it's just delightful. And it's part of the Family Arganu series. It's actually technically book 3, but it's the first one I ever read. The blurb is from the back of the book. SWM, Lucan. Successful biographer family, books recently categorised as paranormal romances, something of a recluse, hates crowds, aggressive women, doesn't like sunbathing, garlicky dinners, or religious symbols, likes old-fashioned values, spicy Mexican dishes, warm, nice-smelling necks, and plump red lips. Stronger than 10 men and can vanish in the blink of an eye. Currently unaware he's seeking a woman to share eternity. SWF.
I love this so much so far.
Lever. Newest editor of romance at Roundhouse Publishing, Perky Fun, has recently discovered a legacy author just dying to be broken out. In fact, her career could take off from it. The tall, dark, handsome writer just needs to be taken to several romance conventions and introduced to his fans, and stopped from acting so strange in public. Dislikes difficult, rude, obnoxious, pig-headed writers. Currently unaware she's met the man of her wildest dreams. Oh dear. There's a scene at the romance convention. There's a ball, and it is a medieval ball with cod pieces. And that scene is both cringy and delightfully funny. And I think about it and it just has me in kink. It's like Ren Fair kind of funny.
That's
so
fantastic.
Yeah, Single White Vampire by Lindsay Sands. It's delightful.
Wonderful.
What have you got?
Okay, so like you, I was struggling trying to find a good recommendation. So I thought, you know what? I'll skip my recommendation for now. I'll go on and choose an indie spotlight from our email requests that we get. So I thought I'll skip it for now and then I'll come back. We got a request to talk about a book that's coming out August 24th. It's coming out soon, but we only just received this request. So obviously I had to say, no, I'm sorry, we can't do this right now because our schedule is packed. And also I'm about to move across the country. So can't do it right now. But oh my gosh, this book. It's called The Marionettes by Katie Wismer. And it sounds perfectly up our alleys. Valerie Darkmoor's entire life has been building up to this moment. Her initiation into the Marionettes, the prestigious League of Witches sworn to serve the vampires.
Yes! Yes! You don't need to tell me anymore. That's it, I'm sold. Done.
Nope.
Done.
Yeah. As one of the last remaining blood witches, her spot is almost guaranteed. At least, so she'd thought. The Academy is full of sabotage and secrets as the tasks begin, and Valerie quickly realizes she has more than her spot on the line. Her survival seems just as uncertain. The closer she gets to the final trial, the more she learns everything, and everyone around her isn't quite what it seems.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
Right?
I mean, to be fair,
yes.
First sentence and I was sold.
Right. It's the beginning of a new series. I'm excited to read that one. All right. So that was both If You Liked This, Try This, and also Indie Spotlight swooped into one.
Insert both sounds.
Insert both sounds at the same time, which is actually what I was just thinking. So, which?
Which?
All right.
The birds you're familiar. Ah!
So, that's it for this episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite fictional hangover-themed merchandise, and become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com, follow us on Instagram at fictionalhangover, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fictionalhangover, and on Twitter at fictionalhangover, no ER. If you'd like this episode, check out our others and rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for our music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.